Hi, hello. For the third report, this is the topic of our group issues and challenges in CSR communication. I'm Alden Lawson, so welcome and hello, Doc Mel and classmates. So what we did here in this module, there was like 5 articles. So what we did was to distribute and assign each of the articles in the module. So I took this up. Communicating CSR is more challenging than paying CSR by Supriya Motwani. So what I'll do here is to discuss her points, and 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 the second part will be about the challenges that she mentioned in this article. And again, just take note that this was written in 2012. She said, and I'll be quoting, global communication creates a context where public opinion does not trust organizations that overstate their social behavior. So maybe she's just putting it nicely, but I think she's implying about PR communication. So CSR communication is therefore becoming increasingly important. So if CSR communication will be conducted, what could be embodied in those in what could be communicated. So some of the issues you mentioned are would be the company's mission, vision, and values, workplace climate, social dialogue, human rights, community involvement, development of the local economy, the environment, market relations, and ethics. But then she said that the communication of CSR issues is reported without consideration of how they are communicated. So again, to remind that this was written in 2012. And then included in that article, she mentioned 3 channels for CSR communication, and these are already quite familiar since we have already tackled most of this in previous modules: social reports via websites, advertising. So for her, social reports, these are the main channel for CSR communication. So in this slide, I'm showing you the organization that I took up in FMA 2, SM Prime, in FA 1, SM Prime, one of those divisions of SM Investment Corporation. So here you see in this website that in their social report from 2016 to 2023. But and then we said that it could be arbitrary on their end, on the corporation end, and usually we now know that there are third-party certifications that can be conducted to validate some of the claims in the report. The other channel would be the website. So consider the second channel, and quoting a study, she said corporate websites have the potential to influence public opinion on issues. So here I'm showing you a sample of a website of ayala.com, and you will see the sustainability um, aspect of their CSR, and down you can see also the download, you can download the report. And then the third channel would be advertising. The public, for the social dimension itself, often criticizes this campaign. So she somewhat already said this earlier, so it could be in the form of public relations, and then we already know about greenwashing or intensifying the brand's reputation or corporation's reputation. So that's part of the CSR advertising. Other channels could be thematic reports, codes of conduct, stakeholder consultation, internal communication, interventions in the press and on TV. So this one, to continue, cost-related marketing, communication on product packaging, communication at points of sale, prices, and events. So again, I'm showing a sample from SM Care. That is the CSR body of SM Prime, and you can see so many um, activities that they publicize, and can see, for instance, that they have about water conservation, about giving aid to, let's say, Batangas, maybe during the typhoon or the earthquake. And then this one, the one in yellow, is about children, special children. They're doing programs in the malls, for instance. And then part of that essay is CSR communication and objectives. Again, we have already probably more likely encountered this in previous modules. The first objective of communicating to clients is to improve reputation through CSR. So, for instance, if consumers are targeted, they can give CSR can give good reputation. It affects consumer satisfaction. It can also be a way of achieving product differentiation and a way also of gaining loyalty among customers. If CSR communication is communicated to employees, it could serve as a publicity, and these employees could give a good um, message about the company. It could also increase employee satisfaction and commitment through CSR. And of course, it's a way also of making or increasing the appeal of the company as a future employer. And now the fourth one, for the objective, it reduce employee turnover through CSR. So now we know about phenomenon of, let's say, the millennials and the Gen Zs, and this phenomenon of quiet quitting. So we I mean, a study could be done how CSR can improve employee turnover. And then if CSR communication is communicated to shareholders, it could increase the awareness of socially responsible investing in the company. So some investors maybe invited to invest in the company because he or she believes in its initiatives. And the second objective, communicate the tangible advantages of the company's CSR strategy. So, well, what could be the tangible? It could be the economic, tangible aspects, and how the CSR can communicate. CSR initiative can increase its tangible advantages. CSR goals, challenges for communication of CSR. So these are the challenges she mentioned. CSR goals are abstract and difficult to communicate to stakeholders. Many corporate CSR with corporate philanthropy. Many corporations equate CSR with corporate philanthropy. This complicates the CSR communication process. For what the companies are actually responsible, how should companies communicate their CSR efforts, how to communicate CSR issues without being criticized. So for this part, what I'll do is to 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 review the challenges she mentioned in that essay. And again, remember, this was in 2012, and she actually mentioned 11, so we'll discuss the other six later. First one, CSR goals are abstract and difficult to communicate to stakeholders. So again, I'm showing you let's say the website of the Ayala, and there they put in their vision and then their programs. So I don't see any abstraction there or difficulty. So, and besides, even before her article, already we learned about Morsing and Schultz, or which was written in 2006, and we know how goals are communicated through different strategies: stakeholder information, stakeholder response, stakeholder involvement or engagement. We know that the stakeholder information is a one way, so nowadays it's almost like not anymore practiced, because there's always that two-way process of communicating the goals, the CSR goals, the stakeholder response, which is the solicitation of feedback, and the stakeholder engagement, wherein key stakeholders are in a dialogue with the company. And then, as quoting a study, it says that a more traditional approach in identifying the CSR goals, however, is to divide it into components, the economic versus non-economic goals. And two authors argued that CSR goals be viewed in a broad business model, what they call a syncretic model, where the primary goal of CSR concerns how business benefits tangibly or intangibly from engaging in CSR activities and practices. So way to communicate CSR goals. And then she said that many corporate, that's what that the word in that article, or many corporations equate CSR with corporate philanthropy. This complicates the CSR communication process. But then again, even before her article, we knew about Archie Carroll's pyramid of responsibilities. There's the economic, the legal, the ethical, and philanthropic. So philanthropy is just one of those responsibilities of the corporation. There's the ethical aspect, that is the obligation to do what is right. And then, of course, being a good corporate citizen, contributing resources to the community. It's not just giving money, but improving quality of life. So many corporations are doing it now at this stage. And then for what companies are actually responsible. So when she wrote this, the EU, the EC, or the European Commission gave out a definition of CSR, a concept whereby companies integrate social and environmental concerns in their business operations and in their interaction with their stakeholders in a voluntary basis. So how to overcome this challenge? Of course, subjecting it to the triple bottom line approach. CSR, when companies communicate this CSR, we can subject this how they include the planet, the people, and the profit aspect of their CSR, the environment, the social, and economic aspects. How should company communicate their CSR efforts is again another challenge for her. And then we learned in previous modules that it can be targeted at various audiences. There's the marketplace audience, the workplace audience, the community in audience, and the environment. So each of these audiences can be targeted differently using different CSR communication strategy. So it will be different if you communicate to marketplace and to the workplace audience. So knowing the audience this challenge can be overcome. How to communicate CR issues without being criticized. So again, this was written before the meteoric rise of social media, wherein you can put in your comments at present. So criticism is inevitable. But you can see criticism as a form of feedback. But what is the impact if criticism is given? So anyway, going before answering that, there's a sample Facebook page of like a Aboitiz company. And then you can see here they have in a Facebook page, they have publicized their activity, and then there are 63 comments. And then you can see here the comments, sample comments of those who viewed or those who have witnessed their activity. So again, in light of what we know now, we can be wary, of course. Maybe these are just employees but whatever. No, there's a space for comments. And then in another study, if criticism is given, in this study, there was this investors who criticized the company, and they posted that on social media. So what is the impact of that criticism? It says that a finding showed that investors' social media criticism not only motivates companies to disclose their CSR activities, but also increase the substantiveness of their CSR reports, which means that they have to their report becomes more substantive rather than merely just symbolic or just maybe showing it like a PR thing. The other 6 challenges for communicating CSR. This will be the questions that I will pose in our dashboard. So we will choose 2 and update each of one in light of recent developments. Thank you for watching.